Hi, my name is Chris Young, writer, musician, philosopher, billionaire, philanthropist, and I'm here today to make a video to remind myself how to record audiobooks, and B, to assist anybody out there who's thinking of recording their own audiobooks. So I don't know if my method will help you, but this is how I did it. It's much better to connect your audiobook to your ebook first, and then all your chapter files are there. Let's try Old Mice Killer. This is my book. You're Claiming the Old Mice Killer by Chris R. Young. Choose how you prefer to produce your audiobook. I'm looking for someone to narrate. I already have audio files for this book and I want to sell it. Before you start, you can tell them that you want to hire narrators, like professional voice actors, to read it. But then I don't know if you have to give them a one-off fee or give them a percentage of the royalties. Also have to create a slightly different aspect ratio cover art for your audiobook. It has to be square. Okay, first of all, you need a high quality microphone and a mic stand. I use what I have available, which is this directional Rode mic and this mic stand that I had, and this vocal popper thing, which is very important because every time you say a word that has a p in it, it's going to create a puff of air, which is going to make your audio recording sound terrible. I use this microphone. It's connected to my video camera by XLR. I know I'm not making a video, I am recording the audio, but for some reason this is the best setup I can find. This Panasonic camera records better audio than any of my other recording devices. It's connected in here to channel 1. I don't take the cap off, it's black, so it's going to be recording a lot of data. It's going to be recording the video unnecessarily. Though you might think that, oh, you might as well make a video as well if you're doing the audio. No. When you edit the audio, there's going to be gaps and cuts, so there'll be a lot of jump cuts in the video. So there's really no point unless you're using 2 cameras to record a video. And then the job balloons. As you can see down here, the mics are picking up my audio already. Well, I'm getting something from this mic and also from this mic up here. So if I want to check that the setting is correct, so I'll tap. That's me tapping the Rode mic, so I know that it's connected. And you want to make sure that it's in between these 2 lines here. It's not peaking. And then I record it. I take out the P2 card. I mean, it really depends what you've got available, but I ferry the P2 card across to this P2 card reader by Panasonic, and I import it that way. When I am recording using the video camera, it might make sense to plug in the video camera to the AC socket, so I don't have to keep changing the batteries. No, don't do this, because the current going through the cables while it's powering the camera will affect the microphone, because the cables will be close together. Another thing is, which I should have done, was after importing the video footage, which is quite a big file, I don't need the video, all I want is the audio. I should immediately have just exported all of the video files into audio files as raw clips, and then deleted the video files, because I didn't do that, and later on my hard drive got full up, and so I deleted some of the previously recorded video files, and then later regretted it, thinking, oh, I kind of wish I'd gone back and maybe used some of those clips. Before you start recording, if you have a watch that beeps every hour, take your watch off and put it somewhere else, maybe a different room. Put your phone on airplane mode. Even if it's on silent, if it's close to a microphone, it might mess with the mic and ruin the audio, okay? Or it might ring, or somebody might text you or something when you're in your flow, and it might put you off. Oh yeah, if you have a clock that ticks, take the batteries out. If you have a window in the area where you're recording, close the window and close the curtains as well, because the more soft fabrics you have around your room, the better they will absorb the noise, and there will be less of an echo. Have a glass of water handy. Try and keep your mouth as close to the microphone as possible, and try to keep your level of conversation as constant as possible. Don't get too loud suddenly and start shouting, and then sit back and say very quietly. Keep your text editor open at the same time as your audio editor, so that if you do realize that a character might say something slightly differently, you can go back and tinker with it. Once you set your audiobook as complete and send it off to QA, you have to wait a while for them to check it. It can be like a couple of weeks, and then if they approve it, then that's it. It's out there. You can't make any more changes. So I think you have to make sure that you're happy with it the way it is before you send it off to QA. Any changes submitted are subject to the same quality controls and processing as new projects. You may temporarily lose access to promo codes while your changes are being processed, and if your title is currently pending QA approval, making changes means your title will re-enter the queue, restarting the 10 business day processing time. Don't use a mouse to scroll the pages of your audiobook. Use the trackpad, because it's quieter. Actually, I remember now, I did use the mouse for scrolling. I just switched it onto silent mode. My mouse has two modes, noisy clicky mode and silent mode. Tell your family members before you start recording, because more often than not, somebody will walk in and say, disturb you when you're in mid-flow.
Not one DisplayPort cable.
I found it easier to get into character when there was no one else in the house. I always felt a bit embarrassed when I was trying to speak like an American if my family were around. I use a MacBook Pro, excuse me, and there's going to be a lot of media, so I use an external drive called OneTouch A, and here you can see my project is dated 8th of May 2023, Luminary Audiobook. So everything's in there. It's got a few folders. It's got bits, Final Cut Original Media, from Panasonic Camera, some random audio files, I don't know what they are. Let's click on Luminary A Library and see what we've got in here. Hopefully everything will still be in place. I use Final Cut Pro X on a Mac, and I've got my library there. So in the library, each chapter has its own project. They're all numbered and named, and it took me a few different attempts. That's why a few of the things at the top are basically it's failed tests, basically. There's no such thing as a failed test. You always learn something from doing a test. But you need to make sure that everything works before you start replicating the process. So let's have a look at this. So the project is 1440 by 1080 and 25i, and the stereo is 48 kilohertz. All right. So I imported the black video footage in here. So this is 79, do the crime, do the time. And you just go through it and you cut out any bits that are ums or ers that you're not happy with.
Chapter 79, do the crime, do the time.
Well, it's got what you heard there. It's got the name of the chapter. I remember every time I put a clip in, I always increased the volume by 1 decibel. Everything. I don't know why I did that. It just made things easier further down the line. You have to disable the aspects of the audio which are not from the the Rode mic. So here, as you can see, I've got 4 audio inputs. 2 of them are a bit rubbish and 1 of them is good, and this is them all together, 4 monos. So these are from the onboard microphone, which will have a lot of noise and probably the sound of me tapping my foot. So disable them and it'll sound a lot better. There's no noise or anything taken off at this stage. There's no equalization. It's just the basic audio clip. And as you can see here, there's a fade here because you need to avoid clicks or anything like that. So sometimes I put a fade in, a transition. Other times I reduce the volume slightly to cut out any breathing. But let's remove this and see why I cut this out here.
The local children, the local kids.
Okay.
It was after fun.
So I wanted to change the local children to local kids. So I shrunk this bit down.
Frighten the local kids.
So here, you hear something funny in there?
Didn't want to frighten the local kids.
So you can just
Didn't want to frighten the local kids.
reduce little audio problems like that. I did this audiobook in character as Jake Jones because it's all first person, making things infinitely more complicated for myself. I'm not American, Jake Jones is American. I can do accents, but I'm not very good at maintaining consistency. And they say that what you should do when you record an audiobook is listen to the previous chapter first so that you can get into the flavour of the character. And I did this, so when you listen through, I hope it's not too obvious, but if you go back to the start and listen to the first chapter, compare it with the last chapter, you can hear there's a lot of drift. So what I should have done was listen to the first chapter. You just edit it together as best you can. I think I cut out any bits where I'm obviously breathing. Another thing I learned about doing audiobooks is that you don't have to keep saying he said or she said or Jane said or Jake said or Fred said, because you're doing it in the different accents. Let's see if I can find a bit where I'm doing it in different accents.
Okay, see you soon. Jake? Yeah. Remember the time I busted you out of that cop precinct?
Yeah, what I remember about this particular chapter is that because the difference between the voice of Jake and the voice of Grizzy was not so distinct, I kept getting them confused when I was reading. But if I did each voice separately, for example, I did all the Jake voices and then I went back and recorded all the Grizzy voices, it was easier to stay in character. So the voices are different. And I found out as well that a lot of the high-paying professional audiobooks actually hire professional voice actors. Voice actors to do their voices for them. So those people are all credited in the... And it becomes like a full-scale production, basically. It's like a radio play. And is that an audiobook? Yeah, I suppose it is. I think my accents actually put some people off the story. So maybe I should do a version that doesn't have any accents as well. After you've edited it to your satisfaction,
but found myself with an unsettled feeling.
if there's no clicks or, any things that you're not happy with, then I export this. I go up to share, master file, default probably, and it's already figured out it wants to export it as an MP3. It's all black. I don't want to export it as a video file, export it as an audio file. Settings, audio only, it knows that. And you export it into your folder, where all the other ones are. Where are we here? Luminary audiobook. From Panasonic camera, that's probably the one we need. Because I think I was using different ways. New accents, here we go, you see? From FCPX. Okay, so this is where I exported from FCPX files. And there is 79 Do the Crime. I've already done it, I'm not going to do it again. To upload an audiobook to ACX, the audio file has to be a specific quality, otherwise it will not pass basic QA control. You won't even get to the humans. Right, so if I upload, add a chapter, let's say this is 79. 79, do the time, okay. And we'll upload. Now, there's something to do with the waveform and the maximum and the minimum and the RMS, which stands for root mean square. So there it is, analyzing the file. Issues found with uploaded audio, please refer to audio analysis tab. Okay, so we'll click on that. 79, do the time. Okay, so bitrate method, VBR, stands for variable bitrate. So why is the bitrate variable? That's because I exported it from Final Cut Pro. For some reason, an audio file exported from Final Cut Pro is variable bitrate. We want a constant bitrate. File is not encoded in constant bitrate. Reader encoding guide, blah, blah, blah. RMS, root mean square, decibel root mean square, is minus 24.8. RMS is too low. Raise the level of this file 1.8 decibels. It's something to do with the average value of the whole waveform. And it has, you don't want clips to be too quiet, clips to be too loud, because your listener is going to be upping and down and the volume is going to be annoying. So the minimum RMS, it must be minus 23 decibels. So we need to raise this by 1.8 decibel. Okay, now this is where we can solve these problems with RX8. Audio files exported from GarageBand are also in constant bitrate. Izotope RX8 audio editor. Alright. And I think I got this for a discount because they're doing some kind of promotion. 79, do the crime. So just drag and drop that into RX8 and it starts to decode the file. So waveform statistics, yes. Okay, so waveform statistics. Lots of information here. True peak level, sample peak level, max RMS level, min RMS level. Total RMS level is minus 21.7, which is different from what the audiobook, the ACX was telling us. It was telling us that the RMS level is minus 24.8. But we have to increase it by 1.8. So, how do I do this? I go to the gain. Where's the gain? Is it this one? Or is it normalize? I think it's gain. So here it says gain 2.03. I want to get this up to 20, I think it is. 20 decibels. Total RMS level, minus 20. So 1.77. 1.77. Render. Okay, so now it's minus 20 decibels. So everything's been bumped up slightly. Okay, so one other thing to remember is that if you have high background noise, if you're adding gain at this point, then it will also increase the volume of the background noise. So this is why it's important to have a good mic setup from the beginning. Get your mouth nice and close to the microphone so there's a big difference between the background noise and the average volume of your voice. Constant bitrate, see? That's what we want. Limiter, normalize. 256 kilobytes per second MP3. Yeah, let's go for that. RX8 masters, here we are. So 79, do the crime. So here I've already done it. 79, do the crime B. So that's what I'm going to call this C because this is slightly different. I might not be doing it right, but I just want to check if I'm doing it right or not. Saving 79, there we go. While it's doing that, you go back to here, go back to your upload manager on ACX, do the time, action, replace, browse. So you upload, that's because it's an old window, that's why. Okay, so we're uploading the one that we've bumped it up 1.77 decibels to minus 20 RMS. It's constant bit rate. Let's see what it thinks of this. Analyzing file. Basically, once you spend a lot of work on the first file, and then once you've got the first file done, everything else is fine. Oh. It's accepted it. and you can even listen to it to check it sounds okay.
In the corner of the desk, put my paws behind my head, leaned back in my chair, and gazed out the window.
And that's it. It's accepted it. I'm quite surprised. Audio analysis, let's go back to there. No issues found in uploaded files. So we've passed. So that's it. So nice warm feeling. That's all good. So all you have to do that is another 80 times. And yeah, remember to do all these different steps. You also have to do opening credits and closing credits. And a copyright page and things like that. It doesn't take very long to do all that stuff. Opening credits, closing credits, retail audio sample, 5 minutes. Yes, you also have to do an audio sample, which you can just cut the first chapter or the prologue. I was really pleased with this, actually. I really enjoyed doing the audiobook for The Luminary because it was my first one, and even though it's not 100% perfect, I felt like I had a better relationship with the characters, you know, because when you write the book, you don't really imagine the characters to the depth of what their accent should be like. So, for example, I was limited by the accents I could do. So for no reason whatsoever, other than I could do the accent, one of the characters in The Luminary turned out to be from Liverpool, even though she was a kind of a youth worker in America. And in the text, it doesn't say anything about why she's from Liverpool or why she moved to America or anything like that. In real life, nobody would tell you. Like, you'd just meet a youth worker and they'd be from Liverpool, and you think, oh, you're from Liverpool. And they'd be, yeah. And you might have a bit of chat. Like, what are you doing here? Oh, I don't know, I just never really thought about it. So it makes you delve into these questions and flesh out the characters more. And also, as I've mentioned, you find, especially with dialogue, like earlier when I changed didn't want to surprise the children to didn't want to surprise the kids, when you have to say the lines in character, it really makes you think about what makes sense, because American probably don't use the word children so much. So I'm gonna push this more because I think it's a good product. I'm really pleased with it. 5 hours 57 minutes. I should do audiobooks for the other books as well, because they should be interesting to imagine. There's the audio sample.
Sitting feet up on my desk, I just deftly tossed the jack of hearts into my hat. My ears pricked up before there was a knock at the door.
That's basically the first chapter. I didn't put the prologue or the foreword into the sample. I just jumped straight into the first chapter. And Jake's voice there is quite smooth. It flows. It's not too kind of Brooklyn-esque, but then at the end his voice is very staccato. It's like, I put my feet up on the desk. I looked out the window and the smoke poured in from the fire, 'cause there was a boiling taxi cab outside on the street. So what I should do is go through and do it all again, but I don't think that's going to happen. Lessons learned for the next time. Anyway, that's all for me and Jake. Thank you. I hope this found this useful. And yeah, see you in the next video. Thanks very much. Goodbye.